Hi, welcome in. We are going to begin our tutorial walkthrough on how to install MySQL on a Windows-based PC. First, you're going to want to make sure you come out to mysql.com and go to Downloads. There, you're going to scroll down and you're going to see some options that you're going to want to pick here. So first and foremost, you're going to want to be using the free version, which is going to be the MySQL Community GPL downloads. Once you get there, you can look for the MySQL installer for Windows, since we're installing on Windows. And then you're going to come to the window here where you're going to see the most current version. So once you see that you have the version for this particular installer, you're going to select that. No need to create an account or log in unless you like, but just click the download and that'll take you to the next page where you can then begin the installation here. Once you have the download completed, you can open that file and it's going to prompt you to begin the installation. And this installation can vary depending upon your PC. So give it some time and then you're going to walk through here. I'm going to speed it up a little bit so it doesn't feel so slow. All right, now that we have the installer here, we have some options we're going to set up. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to switch it over to doing the custom option, which is a little bit better for what we're about to do on a local machine. So we're going to click Next. And then we're going to go into selecting the products that we're going to want to install, right? So expand the MySQL servers, and you can see that we're going to be setting up this particular version. And then we're going to take a look at also what other features we want to install. So that's going to be under Applications. We're going to put in MySQL Workbench, which is the interface that's going to allow us to connect to our database tool. And we'll move these over into the installation window here. 1 and then 2. Okay, so now they're ready to go. And then we're going to go ahead and take a look at documentation. It's always good to include documentation. You could find a lot of this online. And then also there is a sample database that we can include. We're going to, in another video, also add another one, but go ahead and add those in there. And once we have those in there, there's all your, your examples and so on. And then once we have that, I think we're ready to go ahead and advance the screen here. Click Next. And there we are. We have the SQL Server, the Workbench documentation, and examples. Click Execute, and it begins to do the installation. I'm going to go ahead and speed this up for everybody so we're not sitting here waiting too long. Now that we have that, let's click Next. And what we're going to do is begin to set it up. So there's a couple of screens here where you're going to want to look at the settings. Most importantly with this particular setting is making sure you kind of deselect the Open Windows Firewall ports for the access. Doing that is going to make things work a little bit easier for you. And then also clicking Next again. Authentication model, well, we're going to go ahead and keep it as is. Click Next. Now, what you want to do here is you want to make sure you put a password in here that's complex enough that it's not easy to be discovered, but also you can remember it. Or, as always, put it in your password locker or make it something you can remember. As long as it's not password 123, right? That's always a bad way to go. So I'm going to put this repeat password in here, and sometimes I always forget what I typed in the one above, and I'll get that message saying, oh, they don't match. All right, so let me retype that. And I think I remember what it was. I just typed it in my upper block there. And I think this will work this time. There we go. All right. We're looking good. So now we can move along and we could say click Next. And that will bring us here. It's going to give us some service names and so on. So we'll click Next. And ultimately, we're going to want to make sure we grant full access. So here we go. We begin to get ready now. We're going to set all this up. We're going to click Execute. And we're going to run through these checklist items in here. And it's saying it's going to take a little bit of some time, but it's really not that long. So don't worry about that. I didn't speed up the video in that case there. And then once all those are done and they're all green lit, go ahead and click Finish. Now you'll see that you're set up there with these items. Click Next. And before you go further, you're going to want to use that same password you typed in the last screen again here. And then click Check just to make sure you typed it in and it's going to authenticate properly. And there you go. Green lit. Connection succeeded. And we're going to move on to the last part here. We're going to click Next, of course. And that will bring us to the closing execution scripts. Click those. It's running the final pieces of configuration. We're going to have the database here running in a moment. And then we click finish. And really, there we are. We're looking at it all being configured and set up. And that's it. So click finish. And now you're ready to look at the MySQL Workbench. So MySQL Workbench was part of the installation. I'm going to drag that here onto my screen. And then you could take a look at it here. I'm having a little time grabbing it. There you go. Okay, so there's my MySQL Workbench. What is this? This is the interface or the IDE that's going to allow you to interact with the database. You could see the initial connection that we set up, and it's right here it says local instance MySQL DB. That's where you're going to really be working. You could set up other connections in through this window here. So now once we click that, we're going to connect using the password that we set up earlier. See how many times it calls on you? And we'll put that in there. And there it is. You are now in the MySQL Workbench, which is going to allow you to build all sorts of database goodness. And then take a look at the follow-on video that I have that allows you to make use of the example databases that MySQL gives to you. So if you're looking to just test out certain things and see how things are built.